You're a foul one, Mr. Grinch.
Hello, my gorgeous, beautiful, wonderful queen bees. It is your girl Amanda, the Buzzed Artist. Welcome back to my channel, a place where you can let loose and just have fun with your acrylic paint. For today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make your very own grouchy Grinch. Adapted from the Dr. Seuss book and the 1966 movie classic, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Grab your supplies and come meet me. I'm going to show you how to make this. Yeah.
Ho, ho, ho!
Rightio. First thing we're going to do is lay down our background for our Grinch. So we're going to take our flat wash brush. This is a 3/4 inch. We're going to dip it in some water. And then we're going to go dip in some of our blue. And let's actually mix you guys right over here. We're going to add a good deal of white to that. So you're going to get a nice pale-ish blue color. I don't want it to be too dark of a blue. Kind of like that. Let's work with that for now. Then I'm just going to add in my color. And we're just going to do an up and down motion. Nothing too crazy. Oh, you know, I was just thinking about this. I've had this channel now for a little over a year, which is really neat. And I never did the Grinch. And I thought, you know what? It's about high time we did this colorful character. Now, the Grinch that we're doing here, we're not doing the Ron Howard Grinch. That was a complete travesty. We're not even doing the more recent Grinch movie that Illumination Studios is putting out. I don't know. I've lost faith in the film industry when it comes to portraying any Dr. Seuss movie of any sort. I'm talking about the Boris Karloff, Tony the Tiger singing Grinch of the, 1960s, 70s? 30-minute special, the one that really hits the true heart of the story of the Grinch as Dr. Seuss intended it. Can you tell him I'm a huge snob for that kind of movie? But hey, I believe in good storytelling, and it really made me think about the whole Grinch movie in general. So when you're trying to make a full hour-and-a-half movie based off of a book that barely hit 30 pages, you got to do a lot of character work and development and whatnot. And let's be honest here. The Grinch from the Christmas special that is so beloved is a mean dude. I mean, he is a mean guy. He horsewhips his dog, Max, goes on all these capered adventures trying to make the people of Whoville just really, really sad. And that goes according to his character, according to what Dr. Seuss intended. The guy is just a mean, mean person, right? And then you get all these like films by like Ron Howard and this new one by Illumination Studios, and the Grinch he's mean, but on the inside, he's a tortured soul, wants a good friend for Christmas, and like, no, I don't know. Call me traditional. I really like the idea of just a Grinch who is just mean and nasty, cuddly as a cactus, charming as a Neil, right? And then at the very end, he redeems himself, and oh, is it so much sweeter to see him redeem himself and just become a better person for it. And you don't really see that with the other movies, like the Ron Howard film with Jim Carrey. The Grinch he was just kind of a tortured guy and you felt bad for him, but he, you know, redeems himself and becomes a better person. It doesn't become as sweet. There's not much like of a huge redemption point because you already kind of just feel bad for him in a way. Whereas in the Christmas special, this guy's mean, he's nasty, stealing stuff, taking every last morsel of food that not even a mouse can scrape together. And then when he gets that redemption, when trying to save the sled and save his dog, that's when you start to think like, oh wow, you know, he might actually become a good person. And then his heart grew 3 sizes that day and he became a nice Grinch after that. That's all just like part of the storytelling, right? Like, I really loved that about the Christmas special, how mean and awful he was. But anyways, I can go on and on and on and on and on and on about that. What are your thoughts? Do you guys like the Ron Howard Christmas special Grinch? Are you into that movie series? Are you into the super original Boris Karloff edition? Also, fun fact, did you know that it was actually the guy who did the voice of Tony the Tiger who sang the song? You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. It's such a great song, and also the lyrics are banging. I love the lyrics. With the nauseous super nos, you've got all the tender sweetness of a seasick crocodile, Mr. Grinch. If I had to choose between the two of you, I'd choose the seasick crocodile. I always thought that was like the funniest line ever. This guy is just so nasty. I'd rather pick a crocodile that's literally on the edge of just throwing its guts out than hang out with you. I'm actually painting on cardboard today because, well, I had a lot of cardboard hanging around and it just seemed like a waste to have it just sitting around not being used. It just called to me. Hence why we're here. Oh man, this is gonna take a while. So I was watching a Christmas movie last night. I had trouble sleeping actually. So I went downstairs, turned on the TV to the lowest setting so I wouldn't wake up Ethan, watched the movie. Oh god, now I can't even remember what it is. It's about this girl, or she's a manager at a restaurant. She falls in love with this head chef that's like a famous celebrity. It's a Netflix Christmas movie. I can't remember for the life of me what it was. I was watching that and I mean, we talked about this the last time we were painting together. Netflix kind of has some really chintzy, like, holiday Christmas movies, but they're just so fun to watch, right? It's like Hallmark. The adults in the actual movie tend to act more like high schoolers than anything else. They have this one scene where this girl with her best friend, they see this, this guy that's going to be part of their staff at this restaurant who's like a celebrity chef and also an eligible bachelor. And they're like, oh my god, he totally likes you. You like him? Oh my god, you totally like him. I see you like him. Oh my god, you totally like him. What adult situation would we ever like have a conversation like this? Maybe with your best friend, but like I still feel it's kind of just a juvenile thing to say, you know, like, ooh, you gonna talk to him? Huh? Oh my gosh, you totally like him. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna tell him that you like him. No, you don't want me to do that? Ah! You have to suspend belief a little bit. Despite all that, it was incredibly delicious to watch. I'm not gonna lie to you and say I didn't enjoy any of that I was too highbrow for any of that. Oh no. I enjoyed the crap out of it. Man, this thing is taking in a lot of paint. Jeez. So, comment below if you, A, remember the name of that movie that I'm referring to, but also, B, what other movies do you like to watch during the holiday season? I'm actually pretty excited to start watching Home Alone, Elf. Elf is another fun one. I remember when Elf came out in theaters, it was like in November, I remember on my birthday, but it didn't actually come out on DVD until like a year later. And I remember that and thinking like, wow, that's strange. And I don't know what happened there exactly, but I'm sure some guy in Hollywood who was like, stop the presses, don't release this yet. Hogwarts Express or whatever that movie is with the train that's Christmas related. What is that? What is that movie? Polar Express. Okay, now we're starting to get a color scheme that I'm semi-happy with. Yeah, you know what? Okay, let's put the brush down. We're done. Okay, we're gonna wait for this part to dry, and once it gets nice and dry, we're gonna go ahead and start to draw in our Grinch. So with the powers of editing, we're going to start in 3, 2, 1, bam! I like doing that trick. So now we're going to put in our Grinch, and as always, I like to use a pencil first just to kind of get my bearings on where to put him, and then we're gonna go in and add in our paint. So I have here a colored pencil, white, freshly sharpened, ready for action. We're going to start with our Grinch, and I'm gonna put him right here. I kind of want to do like an interesting frame shot where he's kind of like on this side of the painting, but you can put him anywhere you please. So I'm going to start with doing his head. So we're going to do, how big do I want it? Do I want it this big? Yeah, let's do it that big. So we're going to do, his head's going to be about that big. So that's going to be one part of his face. The other part of his face is going to have a circle right here, and then another circle off to the side right here. Now, of course, if you're doing this off screen or off the canvas, it's going to be cut out, but that's okay. Alright, and then we're going to start just connecting a couple of the pieces here together. So I'm just going to go along the perimeters of those two circles we made. Okay, and then we're going to go down here, and then we're going to do a cheek. Kind of does that for the most part, so it kind of curves in. Don't worry too much about this part. You can always go back and kind of fix and tweak and do accordingly to what you need to do. But it's kind of got like a wobbly line thing going on here. Okay, so that's his smile. Okay, and of course, got his eyes, which if you notice, I'm looking at the source material here, which I'll also include here as well for you all. But he's got those two eyes here and here. So we got one eye, kind of has that little dip to it. And it's got the other eye. Other eye just like so. Okay. So we got a line that's for his eyelashes that are going to eventually go there. Then we got his little nose, which you just do a little loop like that. Kind of goes in like so. Got a line. His mouth is all the way down here. It's very characteristic of this character, actually. So we're going to start at the cheek, at the perimeter of one of the circles. And then we're going to make a line to accentuate his grinchy grin. And so I'm just going to add some lines to show the smile. So you got some lines here. And then we're gonna go add a line there for the cheek. Add another line there for the other cheek. Okay, and then for the eyes, he's got big eyelashes. So if ever you've seen the Christmas special, this was actually drawn by Chuck Jones, who also did the Bugs Bunny cartoons. And you'll notice that in a lot of his style, he puts big eyelashes on his characters, which I'm actually a huge fan of. I love the fact that they have these big eyelashes. It just makes them look like kind of cute and funny, but sinister at the same time, like in a funny, cute way. But that's just me. So I'm just going to add in his eyelashes, kind of connect in the middle like so. There's that worry line. Well, the Grinch does not have worries, he just has a huge cynical attitude about life in general. Okay, got lines, worry lines, kind of like that. Okay, and then he's also got like two of these other lines underneath his eye, kind of like so. And then we got the trim from his coat. Which kind of pretty much hugs his entire face. There's a little bit of a space down here. And then he's got his arm coming out like this. I'm gonna add in the hat. It's got that little poof, like so. When it comes out, the line goes in a little. Then you got the flap part of his hat that comes back down again, that disappears on a little bit on the top here, but then comes slowly back down again. Or like so. And then it's just gonna make a little boop like so. And you can always adjust it as you see fit. And again, I'm just making sure the hat makes sense on him. And of course he's got these like furry cheeks. Don't forget to add that in. Oh, he's looking fabulous. I love him already. So now that that's over, we're going to start putting in our color. How about we start with actually painting in his face? So I'm gonna go with our number 10 filbert brush. I'm gonna dip it in some water, get him nice and wet, and then we're gonna go use the color green. If you don't have the color green readily available, you can just combine blue and yellow until you get a nice color of green that you're really into. Okay, and then just start painting. And I like using the broad side of my brush here to help me cover a lot of area with the paint, but also it helps create that nice smooth looking surface. Okay. And again, I'm not too worried about like the colored pencil showing from underneath. We'll add a couple layers and those should kind of go away. But as long as you kind of have a place to put your paint and know where to put it, that's most important. What I thought was really funny about the Grinch in general was just how like bulbous he was. He is not a thin guy. I mean, he's got like a nice little pot belly, which in the cartoons, I always thought that was like the funniest thing ever. He's just like this grouchy Grinch with this big old pot belly, hating life and the Who's and all that. There are many times in life where I do, in fact, feel like the Grinch. Comment below if you totally agree that there are some days you just wake up and you're like, man, I get it, man. I get what he was coming from. All those people being happy, those morning people, loving life, how dare they? Although I have to say, my morning, I used to not be so much of a morning person. I used to just be cranky about when I wake up. But I think I've changed a little bit. You know, I wake up fairly early now without much of an issue anymore. But boy, in the past, it was hard. It was hard for me to get out of bed. Many a time I felt like the Grinch. Yeah, and like I predicted, paint actually glides very nicely. I don't have to use that much of it like I did in the past. With laying down the blue, which is great, because then I'm not like using up a crap ton of paint. It'll just glide pretty easily. So I'm in the middle of just adding in my second layer of paint, and already, you know, the lines that we made prior are sort of fading, which is good because, you know, then it's not really popping over for us. Okay, well, I'll leave that alone for now. Because next, we're gonna go and add in those yellow eyes. So, I'm gonna switch to my number 10 shader. And we're gonna go ahead and add in some yellow, mixed with a little bit of white, just so it's not like glaring yellow. Just fill it in. And you know what? I'm just gonna cover the whole thing. Because I'm still able to pretty much see what's happening. And if you're feeling a little less confident about using a bigger brush, just go with a smaller brush, like I'm doing here. You can even set the background here with your detail round brush, and then you can always go back in later with your shader or with a bigger brush to fill in the more bigger areas. That's purely up to you. I always find myself like holding my breath when I'm doing very small work with my detail round brush. I have to remember to breathe. Just breathe. It's going to be okay. It's just paint. It's just paint. Not gonna hurt you. While that's drying, why don't we start laying down the trim of his hat. I'm gonna go back to using my filbert brush because again, soft strokes for different folks. Okay. So I'm just using the tip, just like so, carrying it out. Letting it do all the work for me. Looking good so far. I gotta give credit to the Grinch when he was making his own Santa costume. That must not be easy. It must not be easy to have to sew an entire suit just for yourself. And he also dressed up his dog as a reindeer. Oh, Max. That poor thing. Things he had to contend with. But you could not help feel bad. But you could not help but feel bad for that so sweet dog, you know? You just felt so bad for him. Okay. So whatever space I kind of have left over between the green and the trim, I just want to cover that as much as I can with that white. Just like so. Just like that. Okay. Alright, that's a start. Okay, now let's start putting in his Santa costume. Let's start painting that in. And that we're just gonna use just plain old red. Now, wonder. Whoa, you're a nice color. This is a nice color of crimson here. Okay. So, we didn't even finish a lot of the details, and I just barely put in the red, but it does already start to look. It does already start to look like the Grinch, right? You're already starting to get like the general gist of his character. It's like, oh yeah, you're painting the Grinch, aren't you? Baby, you know it. Again, broad side of the brush is your best friend. Really helps you get those super nice fat strokes that are super smooth. Okay. Right. And don't stress out too much if you laid it down and it's kind of eating into your trim. You got some red on your trim. Ooh, it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. You can always cover it up later with that white. Because unlike watercolors, where every time you add water to a previous color you laid down and blends, acrylic paint is very forgiving. So if you made a mistake somehow and you crossed your acrylics into another color you didn't mean to, just wait for the paint to dry and then simply reapply the color that you want on top. That's pretty much it. No rocket science here. That's really the whole premise behind acrylic paints, right? It's got that versatility to it. Okay. Then we're going to do his hat as well. Actually, a good thing that I laid the tape over that area, because later on when I remove it, I want to take a look at my masterpiece. It'll have nice and clean edges, which is fantastic. Now, what's really cool, I'm just noticing this now, but like the blue in the background, as I'm covering it over with the new colors, does help create this richer color that gets laid down on top. And I'm really digging that, actually. Happy little accidents, as Bob Ross once said. Okay, and I'm going to switch over to my detail round brush just so I can help myself get to the more detailed corners that require a little bit more precision. So I've got that. And I'm also going to go around the trim, just to make sure I got it. And again, we're going to go back in with the white eventually, just to help clean up any edges that we've made here. So no worries if it's not quite perfect yet. Alright, cool, cool. And then we also have red eyes for our Grinch, or red pupils rather. So go ahead and add those red eyes, red pupils. It's coming together. Okay. You know what? There are some bits and pieces here that I missed with the green, so I'm gonna go add that back in. Yeah, he's really coming together, people. Really is. Yeah, like I'm gonna go now to the edges here, and I'm gonna start to add in his like fur, his furriness. You just come out as one single strokes really on the edges here. And we're also gonna do the white of his little, I guess, Santa tuft. What would you call this thing? I have no idea. Water is great for this. You can get a nice thin line at the edge. Now you can take this opportunity to go back in and add even more layers so that they are a little bit more, I guess, consistent in color. So take this opportunity now to go ahead and add those extra layers as you see fit. Now, we are going to start using the black lines to start really adding in some of the more detail features on his face. Alright, so here we go. Got my black. And again, when it comes to black, you want a lot of water on your brush so you can get like an almost ink-like feel. Start by doing his eyes. And I held my breath there for like almost 3 minutes. This part can be a little stressful, so always just take time with this. I know it can be, you want it to be perfect, and this requires just a lot of breathing and just taking it one step at a time. So just be calm. It's okay. Now the detail brush that I'm using, I had to switch over because the brush of my other detail round was pretty frayed. So I kind of had to give up on it and move to another brush. But this one's an angled brush, which also does a really good job. And I can switch it around in different angles and still get like a really nice stroke with different thicknesses, depending on what I'm kind of looking for. So that's kind of nice. Again, always use water. I like to emphasize this a lot because water will get you a super, super inky looking black line, which always gives you smoother looking lines, right? Okay. Now to make the trim, I just use the black and go bring my line in and out. So it almost looks like you're making a cloud almost. And I like to kind of vary which lines kind of go in with the black versus what don't. So experiment with this part. Vary which black lines go all the way in and which ones don't. Just makes it fun and extra cartoony. Why not? Have a good time with it. So I want to kind of emphasize like the lines in his coat, symbolizing like, actually it's kind of funny, he does kind of have some muscles going on in his arms, so I wanted to emphasize that with that, just a simple line. Nothing too out of the ordinary, but just a little. I mean, if you got a guy that's going to be eventually balancing a sled straight over his head with every article of Christmas apparel and trees and whatnot, he's gonna have to be pretty strong. really liking this angled brush. It's this angled detail brush. I'm a big fan. Getting near the end here. This is so cool. And I also realized that we forgot to do his like connecting brows in a way. He's got the lines that kind of connect out this way. We're kind of changing a little bit of things here. That's okay, we'll always go back in. I'll go back in with the green and add that fix in, but I'm gonna... Alright, so I left this alone for an hour or two, just so I can let this completely dry, and then just go over with whatever color I want to place on top. And see, again, that is the whole beauty of acrylic paint. Just wait an hour, and then you can always go back in and add any finishing touches. And voila, that's how you can make your very own Grinch painting. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. My queen bees, how much fun was this? This looks exactly like the cartoon. If you guys enjoyed this tutorial, please be sure to give this video a like and to subscribe to my channel. Hit that like button. You know what to do. Or else the Grinch will visit you this Christmas. And remember everybody, love yourselves and always have fun with your acrylic paint. I'll see you all next time. Bye!